ultimately got pushed back and rescheduled to today. In fact, this is just the second Wednesday matchup for both of these two teams this season. The last time the Bruins played on a Wednesday, they took on Howard. That was also a special night for freshman Addison Fisher recording her first no-hitter. And on the fourth pitch, she finds the strike zone. Laura Head calling balls and strikes. Thomas Davis, the first base umpire, and Rick Cowan over at third. That's the officiating crew here this evening. And the count runs full.
Cecil going for it a little bit, that time going inside and high. Needed the batter to take a swing at it, and she dared to, she did.
Deuces a chop, ball to third, and Woolery unable to collect the out. An infield single for Romulo, and the leadoff hitter for the Titans is safely aboard as we take a look at the defense in just a moment for this UCLA team. Again, they've been so stout, but that hung in suspension just long enough for Romulo to beat out the throw. We'll get you the layout in just a moment as Sarah Perez steps in. Sophomore out of Whittier, another lefty hitter. This time she does try to lay the bunt, but it trickles foul.
The Titans are brave for testing that far side of the UCLA defense. Both Woolery and Bragg have an absolute cannon when they're thrown to the other bases, but Titans like their speed against it.
Swings through, runner's gonna go. The throw to second is a mile ahead of time, and they cut down Romulo. That's Maggie Daniel behind the dish. She's been pairing really nicely with Jada Cecil as a battery between those two. She's actually been very effective in cutting down runners trying to steal. She's caught 5 on the season, has only allowed 9 safe, which is one of the best marks on this UCLA team, as there's 1 out and a 1-2 count to Sarah Perez. Are you surprised that they've turned to the small ball game so early?
I think that they look around this UCLA defense and their pitching staff, and they like their odds of just getting on base, using their quickness and letting the 3, 4, 5, the heavy side of their order, bring them home. And Daniel did a fantastic job with Cecil, seeing that the steal was coming on.
On the 2-2, can't graze the outer corner, and for the second straight batter, the count runs full. And the judgment pitch works out in Cecil's favor, recording her first punch out and the second out of this inning.
Now batting the right fielder, number 5, Natalie Lozano.
Fresh off an 8 strikeout performance in that no-hitter. A lot of movement on that one. Perez did not stand a chance.
It was the third no-hitter for the Bruins this season. We saw Addison Fisher throw a no-hitter, Taylor Tinsley as well, now Jada Cecil. Caitlin Terry was close to one. Cecil's taken on another talented freshman as the infield retreats back. That is flared foul down the third base line, and Bragg and Woolery dangerously came close to colliding with the side netting. It falls foul, but it's 0-2. And again, this UCLA defense, a lot of consistency defensively in terms of their position and their alignment. On the ground to short, and there's Bragg scooping it up, and a quick 3-up, 3-down inning. So the leadoff batter for the Titans did reach. Hits 2 runs, both of which were earned. couple of free passes on a career night in terms of pitches thrown, 119 for the freshman, part of a really talented freshman class. As Jessica Clemens takes a ball, just misses outside for 2-0. And Clemens, another transfer out of the Big West from Cal Poly. So she's very familiar with this Cal State Fullerton team. There are a lot of reunions happening tonight as she takes all the way for strike one. Former Big West Player of the Year during her days at Cal Poly, but joining UCLA provided her a prime opportunity to play for an even greater kind of team. That is smacked right back up to Hurtado, actually hit her body in the glove and still made the play in time. So the shock factor was quickly extinguished, and she extinguishes Clemens for out number one.
Hurtado staying ready so she don't gotta get ready. Right off the wrist and able to react so quickly. Really would like to get it with the glove, but had to bring it out a little bit. Jumps right back, throws to first, and she's ready to face the next batter.
Boy, those comebackers are so dangerous when it stays high like that. As another lefty hitter, Savannah Pola, as we highlighted. First at bat for her, takes a strike, but talk about a freshman making a play early in this game.
When we say the Bruins batters beat up opposing pitchers, we didn't mean it so literally.
Correct. Yeah, you have Friday Night SmackDown, you got Monday Night Raw on Netflix, WWE, but there's nothing on Wednesdays that typically takes place.
We'll get it going.
0-2 to Pola, just fouled off the edge of the bat. And Pola, number 5 in the country in hits this season, top 25 batting average, having a career year offensively. Just living in the moment. Has been enjoying this season so much.
Whenever you see Woolery and Grant getting those home runs, bringing in multiple RBIs, a whole lot of the time it's Pola, the one that's already on base and getting a touch home plate first.
She's done such a great job of getting on base to allow Woolery and Grant to drive her home. On the 2-2, pulls it foul. Her approach to her at-bats has just been so much clearer this senior season, working a lot with Lisa Fernandez and the entire coaching staff. And she's been putting it together at the right time, at the right moment in her career. A huge leader in this clubhouse. Another 0-2, a changeup this time. First ball thrown from Hurtado. Again, fairly low stakes involved in a contest like this for both teams. That's going to trickle fair in the glove of Casillas at third, and a nice stretch from Arce at first to hold on for out number 2. As we take a look at the defense for Cal State Fullerton. Of course, we talked about the leadoff hitter Romulo over in left. Kate Verhoff, former Golden Glove Award winner last season, out in center field. She's been so stout defensively. The freshman Lozano in right. The infield has pretty much been the same all year, although Abigail Salazar getting the start in second, typically a spot occupied by Colby McClinton, who's not in the starting lineup defensively for Fullerton. But again, the Titans have been just owning the Big West Conference and are in great position in their final home series of the year to retain that #1 seed when they host that tournament this weekend at Anderson Family Field. And Hurtado pours in a second strike to Jordan Woolery.
Really good start for this Titans defense, especially Arce getting a few balls coming in hot. She had to hit the splits on that last play.
And that is going to be roped fair down the third base line. Casillas couldn't make the grab. And it extends this inning for UCLA. Woolery is safely aboard.
pulls this one. It looks like she gets jammed up a bit on the swing and curls beautifully right inside the foul line to get the first base hit for the Bruins today.
Was 3 for 11 in her last series against Michigan. But was fantastic in that opener as Megan Grant takes a ball low below the zone. 50th start of the year for Megan Grant. There's 23 home runs, just unbelievable. Number 3 in the country, just behind Arkansas's Bree Ellis and Virginia Tech's Corey McMillan. There was a time when she held the number 1 spot, part of that incredible stretch of 4 straight games with a home run. Surprisingly, that wasn't the first time that she accomplished that this year. Had a streak of 5 straight earlier this season.
She can let it fly all across Easton Stadium. She can send it over the fence at any part.
On the 3-0, Hurtado's able to clip the outer corner. The ultimate slugging tandem of Woolery and Grant. Understandably, Hurtado pitches outside of her, and it's a 5-pitch walk. Woolery moves on into scoring position, and Kanaya Bragg, who's having a fantastic freshman season, coming in with 2 outs. So for now, we won't see, by the way, a pinch runner for Megan Grant, which is pretty customary.
These teams have so many similarities, and Bragg really shows the freshman having an impact on a team with plenty of veterans. Both these squads are so used to playing postseason softball and used to winning conference titles, and it's great to see the freshmen having such a big impact on both these squads.
Obviously for Cal State Fullerton, this is a huge game to help with their strength of record and the RPI. For UCLA, it's more about where Ava Arce leading off the second inning, collected the final out in the bottom of the first. Defensively, again, the only Titan to have started now all 49 games, and she's been putting together quite a remarkable campaign, to say the least. The junior still with another full season of eligibility. Started a career-high 45 games last year, but served primarily as the designated player. This time she's been the first baseman for the majority of the season for the Titans. That's in the dirt for Cecil for ball 1.
And I always think it helps players when they get a little action on defense before they turn it around and pick up the bat. And Arce, she was involved in every out in that bottom of the first, so she's accustomed to the tempo of this game.
We saw for the first couple of batters, Woolery and Grant in the infield were pinched in. They've since retreated back a little bit further, as throughout the season, Arce hasn't laid down many sacrifice bunts. 2-2, and that's poked into left. A leadoff knock for Arce. And for the second consecutive inning, the Titans have the leadoff player safely aboard.
Arce just does a great job of sticking her hands out and adjusting to that pitch that was going high and outside. Gets it over the outstretched arm of Woolery, and she's on.
60th hit of the season for the junior, coming off a 5 for 10 performance against UC Riverside. Now the corners pinch in anticipation of the bunt. It's rolled to Cecil right up the middle. Had a look at second, instead went to first. So Arce is safe over at second, but Lopez is cut down on a 1-3 putout.
Good decision making by Cecil here to run up, see that she's got no play at second, and still has the arm talent to get it over to first before the runner's safe.
Again, for the Titans, they're just trying to plate runs early. They tried to advance Romulo in the top of the first. Maggie Daniel shut those opportunities down. Again, they're playing their best softball at the perfect time. 14 straight wins. They're actually undefeated on the road in the Big West this season. They've been a great road team all year, 13-2. Significantly better than their home record of 15-10, which bodes well heading into the postseason. We showed the spotlight of Sarah Cosillos. First at bat for her, batting in the 6-hole. Tremendous upside. Just named Big West Freshman Player of the Week. Fisted it. That's going to drop. Bragg can't scoop it up. And the Titans have runners at the corners here in the second. So not strong contact, but effective.
When you're on a hitting streak like Cosillos is, sometimes things just go your way. An odd hop there, dives right under the glove of Bragg. Good job by Arce to hold up her run. She had a chance to try and go home to get the first run of this game. Smartly chose to hold up at third.
Does that change your approach at all for UCLA's defense?
I think you gotta stay the same as they're doing. They're pinching in when they expect a bunt, and to the Titans' credit, they've been jumping on it and getting the pitch count up with that small ball.
Slimp quickly threw it into Daniel. Now a bobble. Woolery trying to cover the home plate bag, and she is safe. Arce comes home to score after a late tag from third, but the Titans strike first. And Cosillos sprints on over to third. There are two away as Slim made a great catch in foul territory. In fact, so much so that it held up Arce at third, but on the one hop, it got away from Daniel. Woolery covered the bag, but Arce was able to slide the foot underneath. As that is a flare up the middle, and Bragg sliding over to make the catch. And Pola, though, a little bit injured as she collided with the second base bag. And let's hope that she is okay, trying to jump.
You said it, definitely avoided the worst there. It was more just the cleats coming down on her foot as opposed to maybe rolling an ankle right there. Either way, you hate to see something like that so close to the postseason, and hopefully next time a little bit more communication in the middle of the infield, you can avoid something like that.
2-1 to Alexis Ramirez, 22nd consecutive start as a designated player. She did return to action on the field for the first time since suffering her torn ACL in Game 1 against Michigan. Came in to play catcher, which is her typical position when she's not utilized as a designated player. Entered for Mojica, then got moved back into the DP spot in the 7th inning, but it was just an incredible full circle moment for her to return to the field defensively. Full count.
Fantastic for her to be able to return on that defensive end, and it's also fantastic that UCLA has such depth that she can continue to hold down that DP position. And you know, you can see all different parts of this Bruins defense shifting around.
Chopper to second. Salazar on the outside of the infield is able to make the 4-3 putout. Again, just great to see her jogging off toward her ACL 5 games into last season. This is the highest in the batting order as well that she's been positioned at in the 6 holes. Riley Slim back in the starting lineup for the 52nd time. came off the bench for the first time as a Bruin in Game 3 against Michigan, and the way that she reacted to that was going 3 for 4 and having arguably her best offensive outing in several weeks.
When you're on a team as good as UCLA, it's kind of internal competition that can push you to be the best. That's why you see such gaudy numbers from so many of these UCLA batters. They're all pushing each other to get better.
On the ground, a short, late hop for Perez, who's unable to make a throw. And an infield single for Riley Slim. So picking up right where she left off, a one-out single for the freshman.
We've already seen a few odd bounces in this infield. Salazar at second base made a nice play last time. This time Perez just can't get a hold of it in time, can't jump on the bounce off her chest, and Slim won't mind. She's gonna sprint on down to first base.
And with the temperature kind of cooling down a little bit, it feels like the field is a little harder than normal. So to your point, those balls aren't skipping off it the same way. Maggie Daniel in the 8-hole takes all the way for strike one.
And I think going along with that note on it getting a little chillier than we're used to up here in Westwood, we haven't really seen a ball hit too far past the infield. We had that pop out in foul territory last time the Titans were up.
Daniel has started most of the games that Taylor Tinsley has started in the circle, but a couple of times when Jada Cecil has been given the starting ball, she's also made appearances offensively as she skies it foul, and it will escape the park. Has been elite defensively. The offensive side is where she knows more growth can come. But in terms of being able to come in as a freshman, communicate really well, call pitches really well, she's been coming into her own really nicely this season. On the 1-2, a bouncer that's fair down the third base line, and what a grab. Arce able to contort her body to spin and tag out Daniel for the second out.
Second time today we've seen Cosillos and Arce combine in an acrobatic way. Has to run it down, didn't look towards second. She knew her only play was at first, and Arce almost lost control of it. Maybe got the tag down or had her foot or on the base, some combination of both. Enough for an out.
Yeah, was able to keep that foot down. Slim moves into second. Caitlin Terry, the starting right fielder, takes a ball. The two-way player has been regularly featuring in both the defensive and offensive lineups for this UCLA team. And again, captures most of the headlines in the circle, but you look at her offensively this season, it's quite remarkable. 287 batting average, 25 hits. Obviously that wonderful grand slam in game 1 against Ohio State. That is rocketed over into right. It bounces away from Arce. That will score. Slim from second. And an RBI single for Terry. Knocks this game up at 1.
The sound off the bat for Terry, you just knew the first baseman was not going to have enough to stop that one. Straight barrel. Terry with another day doing her best Ohtani impression, playing both ways today, doing it in the batter's box.
And it caromed off the glove of Arce, but because it was hit so hard, to your point, Terry's going to take off second. Now, after a bobble by Verhoff in third, is able, or center part, is able to take third. So she's always an ambitious base runner, one of the fastest players on this team as it prompts the first visit into the circle. But now Caitlin Terry is 60 feet away from home plate.
Look at that transition from her slide into second, realizing the ball is past the defender, jumping right back up and rocketing towards third base. She got 2 great jumps on that one, taking 2 bases.
So it goes down as a stolen base and then an error, which is rare from Kate Verhoff, 2024 NFCA Gold Glove winner, the first ever Golden Glove winner for the Titans and in the Big West Conference last season. The Bruins have been resilient all season, and we also just showed that Savannah Pola is waiting in the on-deck circle, so that's a beautiful sign. Another one of these two-out rallies for UCLA as Pola's getting ready, and again, as we talked about, you can manage a cleat stepping on your foot. That's the better outcome. Just takes a little bit of time to shake it off as Jessica Clemens back up for her second at bat as we head to the top of the lineup again.
For Pola, that decision of are you going to stay or are you going to go had to come quick, because the Bruins, as they do, just cycling through their batting order. You're going to be up, so you got to make a decision, and happy to see that Pola decides to stay.
And UCLA is coming off back-to-back games where they trailed early against Michigan, especially in Game 3. They fell behind 5-1 at the end of the first inning. Never panicked, showed backbone. They were resilient, like they've been all year. So they're never phased now when they fall behind, regardless of how many runs. That's one of the things that Coach Kelly Anoy Perez is so proud of with this group, is the fact that she feels like this team gets stronger each inning of the game, which is a unique quality. That was a risky pitch to lay off of, but it works in her favor. Another full count. On the 2-strike pitch, that is going to be wide. The foot is not kept down. Perez to Arce as it scores Terry from third. And the Bruins have their first lead of the night. One here in the second. So it's going to go down as an RBI for Clemens. Fourth hit of the game for the Bruins, scoring Terry from third. And just like that, after the Titans spotted the Bruins a run in the top half, they've got a crooked number in the bottom half. And equally as important is the fact that Savannah Pola is back up and appears to be healthy, grounded out her first time up.
Going back to that challenge, it's got to hurt for Hurtado, who's been doing a really good job. That pitch count is certainly up, which is to be expected against this type of offense, but hasn't let too many balls get past the infield. Bruins have really been hustling on the base path to get safe on some of these hits that are just going inside the infield.
She was one of the top 20 players coming out of high school in her class. Holds her high school record for strikeouts, wins, a number of categories. She was highly touted as Pola lifts it into left. Romulo takes a couple steps back with 8 national titles here in Westwood. 5 as a coach, 2 as a head coach, 3 as an assistant, and 3 as a player. In fact, when you think about the UCLA Bruins dynasty, kind of all got started against Cal State Fullerton in 1982. They had to go through the Titans en route to claiming their first ever NCAA championship. In fact, it was the first time that there was an NCAA championship. They proceeded to win 3 of the next 4. These two programs have met 22 times in the NCAA tournament. So it almost feels sometimes out of place to see them squaring up in the regular season as that sails high for 3-1. But always a treat when they link up.
And Joni, you mentioned that the Bruins went on that run, winning 3 in 4 years. Well, the year that you're missing in '86, Fullerton won that one.
Leadoff walk for Kate Verhoff, who committed the error in the bottom of the second inning. Not to mention, to add to your history, Graham, 1985. UCLA also went through Cal State Fullerton en route to winning their third NCAA title. They beat Nebraska in the championship, but these two teams go way back.
That's why it's so cool to see players turn into coaches for these programs and keep the history among them. That goes to show this is not just a normal regular season game. This is teams that have been playing against each other in big time spots for a really long time now.
Now again, for Cal State Fullerton, a lot more to gain in 2025 in a matchup like this. Obviously, if they win the Big West Conference outright, it's an automatic bid. That's softly poked to Wooler at third. She's going to go to second and collect the out on the force out. So Verhoff is sat down, and Romulo reaches on the fielder's choice.
And you could hear the communication coming from the Bruins defense there. As soon as this ball is hit towards third base, they yell 2. Go right there. No need to even look towards first base. There won't be a play. Good job getting the throw in and getting the out where you can have it.
Infield was a little shaky in game 1 against Michigan. They had a couple of uncharacteristic throwing errors that allowed the Wolverines to score 2 runs and tie it ultimately in game 1. That's what made that contest a lot closer. But for the most part all season, they've been extremely reliable. As the only player to have been struck out in this game, Sarah Perez. Stepping back in, runner's gonna go. That pitch is high, and again, Daniel with an excellent throw right on the money to Pola. They cash in for out number 2. Do not try her.
Maggie Daniel is reading Fullerton's mind right now. Both times she's had a pitch go off to the side when she's expecting the runner to steal, and both times she's gunned it down to second base with plenty of time to spare.
And that's what's impressive, is there's been plenty of time to spare. That's a great way to put it, because it wasn't that close. And it's not a complete pitch out, but she's had such ease with that transfer. As a check swing from Perez is foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Joni, you spoke about how we've seen different pitcher and catcher combinations. It's so impressive that you can have the two combine when you haven't seen it all season and still execute that play perfectly to get the runner going to second.
The game plan has been on point for UCLA defensively, understanding that Cal State Fullerton is a speedy team. Playing that small ball game. Judgment pitch. Denver as part of that heralded sophomore class here at Cal State Fullerton. Fouls off the 6th pitch. In the country, Cal State Fullerton top 25 in stolen bases this season. So if you think that didn't come up on the scouting report for UCLA, you're sadly mistaken. They've been ready for it.
It's been a really fun chess match through a few frames here. Fullerton comes out, shows they want to get on the bases quick with some small balls, some bunts. UCLA adapts by getting the runners going, trying to steal, and now we see Fullerton just trying to extend these at-bats with a few foul balls here from Perez.
Another payoff, and Cecil gets the call on to Rake, which shouldn't be a problem, given her consistency. Number 5 in the country in total bases. She just has a knack for those extra pillows that she gets to reach. All smiles, trying to cement herself as one of the historically great players to sport those 4 letters. 0-2. That's lifted opposite into right, and it's caught by Lozano for out number 1.
Make or break time for Hurtado this inning, going through some of the toughest batters on the Bruins squad and in the nation, and she went for it at that first at-bat, gave a few pitches that Woolery could hit, and was able to give her one in the zone that did not get over the wall, which is rare for Woolery. Good start for Hurtado to this inning.
Megan Grant goes after the first pitch. It's a pop-up shallow left. Perez slides over, and quickly they're 2 away. Grant's typically been patient in the batter's box, not going after those first couple of pitches, but saw one that she liked that hovered over the heart of the plate. The past 3 Bruins batters have been retired as Kanaya Bragg trying to extend this inning, waving a miss for the freshman.
To be able to get through those first 2 batters that we've talked about as being the best duo in the nation and bringing runs in and just a handful of pitches, you gotta feel good if you're Hurtado, but the trouble is not done yet.
That one nearly bounced on the foot of Bragg, who leads the nation in free passes via hit by pitch. Great velo on that pitch from Hurtado. Claims the bottom of the zone for strike 2.
No fear in the bottom of the 3rd for Hurtado, going right at these batters.
Yeah, she actually can't sit down at all during games that she's starting in. Has all this pent-up energy that every time she gets the starting nod during the transfers and the inning changes, she's always just up on her feet, staying busy, trying to keep herself nice and warm, so that she can perform as the 2-2 is laced into left and a 2-out single for Kanaya Bragg here in the 3rd. You forget that she's a freshman as well because of the way that she comports herself in the batter's box. A huge presence. Just has such an easy swing. Power hitter, but knows how to just hit for average, as was the case on that pitch.
She's showing the upperclassmen ahead of her. This is how a vet does it in the batter's box. I'm gonna wait for my pitch. I'm not jumping on early, and great gapper to get on base.
And that's what makes this UCLA team so special, and why they firmly believe they have a chance to make a real run, is because of the freshman class. Not only being serviceable starters, but dependable starters as well. And as they continue to reintegrate Alexis Ramirez in this lineup, you continue to see how much she packs a punch in the offensive spot. 0-2, more of a protective half swing. Was late, but stays alive. Hit in 6 straight games for Alexis Ramirez. Was 5 for 9 in the series against Michigan. Had 2 hits in multiple contests, including the go-ahead RBI in the top of the 8th inning in game 2. Helping the Bruins secure the series. Again, with the exception of Oregon, They've handled pretty much every other opponent in the Big Ten Conference. Swept Ohio State, swept Purdue, just to name a few, as she watches that one glide off the plate for a ball. Uncle and his brother, wonderful gestures from his family, so to see him active, to see him smiling and having a great time is just the cherry on top. So it's a wonderful program that he's been organizing as Cecil retires Lozano for her third strikeout of the evening.
Cecil had to fight back in this at-bat. The strike two was a called strike two. She made sure she was gonna do it herself, went right at the batter's hands, forced the swing, got one down, top of the fourth.
Again, it was the highlight of Cecil's Bruins career to collect that no-hitter. So special for her to be celebrated by her entire team like that. She's such a selfless player, really embodies team over self. It's one of the things that Coach I raves about her. She's in a tough spot. It's tremendously competitive to crack into the pitching rotation, and yet has never complained about her playing time. Goes out, works extremely hard, and tries to maximize every opportunity she's given out in the circle. Ava Arce scored the lone run for Cal State Fullerton in the second. And the lefty hitter pulls it back against the screen as the count stays 1-2.
Arcee's been busy today on the defensive end, getting some throws, coming at all different angles to corral at first base, and showed really great IQ on that tag up from third. The throw was a bit off. She looked like she was gonna go back and was able to get back home for the run.
Oh, what a snag over at first from Grant to keep it in play and to sit her down for the second out.
The next batter for the Titans.
Again, the last time that these two teams played was actually earlier this year on February 28th. Yes, if you're keeping track at home, this year was a leap year. They didn't play on the 29th, but that would have been cool. But in that contest, just for some perspective, Megan Grant was actually the designated player, and at times was a pinch hitter. So it was not even starting in the infield. It just shows how much the times have changed in the last 2 months. Of course, Alina Garcia was the starting shortstop at the time. They've all adjusted. How do you think Jada Cecil's handled herself since conceding that lone run?
I think it's been fantastic. She's really gotten back to her strikeout stuff. You know, she was getting through the order earlier in this game without getting the punch outs, but as the runs started to get going, as the players started to get on base, she really started to vie for those strikeouts instead of just getting a ground out, and I think it's been really helping her stay in this game.
2-2-2, the catcher runs inside, full count. Alexia Lopez, three-time Big West Field Player of the Week. She's been so good behind home plate this season. 249 putouts, just 3 errors on the year. And we have shined a spotlight on Maggie Daniel, deservedly so. But Alexia Lopez this season has caught 11 opponents trying to steal on her as well. Kind of bided her time last year, served as the backup catcher, and has been the starter in every game but one this year. Change up on the payoff pitch, pulls it foul.
Lopez's strength on the defensive end really shows why this is such a good test for UCLA. Fullerton is such a disciplined team. They know exactly what they like to do on offense. We saw the small ball, and on defense, very rare you see errors like we saw to bring in UCLA's run.
He's been fighting off a couple pitches admirably, and that's a barehanded catch. No glove needed. And if that's his daughter too, that is extra special. And what a gesture returning the softball. He's got to be given a signed copy. Look at that. Ooh. Odell Beckham-esque. As that is shot into left. Just found a soft spot in the hole. Brad couldn't stay in front. And on the 8th pitch of the at-bats, Alexia Lopez extends the inning for Cal State Fullerton.
The next batter for the Titans, third baseman, number 12, Sarah Castillo.
Lopez was having a great at-bat before she got the base hit, just fouling off pitch after pitch to stay alive and run up the pitch count on Cecil. I'm sure the Titans are tired of seeing her in the circle.
Cecil climbs the ladder with that rise ball, gets Casillas to swing. Good start for the freshman. 386 batting average this season. Deuce to pop up, Woolery, can she make the catch? Yes, she can. But they'll say that because, no, did not hold on to it. My mistake. Still strike two. And, yep, just dropped it at the end.
Hit the bottom of that glove, and she was thinking about the dugout steps and all her teammates with the pressure on, all those eyes on her right there. I'm sure they'll give her a hard time when she heads back to the dugout as long as they can get out of this inning.
Exactly. Well, it was hard to see whether she would be contending with the side netting or not. All those other components as well. Just able to tip it foul.
Woolery can't make that catch there, then there's not many on the hot corner that will or can.
Yeah, again, shifted over from first to third after that Garcia injury. Defensively this season, just 2 errors to your point, has turned 5 double plays, one of the highest fielding percentages in this lineup of the 4th. Graham Metzger, Jonah Malkin, happy to be with you for the final midweek and non-conference tilt of the season for both these two teams. Riley Slimp has had such a great freshman campaign. I asked Coach Kelly Benoit Perez about the expectations she had for Riley Slimp entering this season, and if she had matched or even exceeded those expectations, and she said that she's exceeded them. She's given her so much credit. Came from Texas, had this huge brand over in Texas from her high school days, of course back in Georgetown, but she's been the perfect fit. Again, hasn't done it through flash, but what she has brought from a reliability perspective, from a defensive perspective over in left field, this coaching staff has big expectations and visions for her leadership and who she's going to be moving forward in this program.
I think it says everything about Coach I's confidence in Slimp and the rest of the young players on this team. The bottom 5 of this batting order are all underclassmen. And that is where UCLA and championship teams alike can get such great production. So it just says everything that Coach I says it doesn't matter what year, what class you are, if you can hit, you're gonna play, and we'll put you in big spots.
And obviously she was part of this heralded freshman class that came into Westwood, was a top 15 recruit coming out of high school. Addison Fisher is currently standing right next to Inoy Perez, as that is just going to drift foul. Was the #1 high school recruit, so it's easy to overlook Riley Slim when she entered in the summer. But nothing was given to her, had to earn her starting nod. And again, the one time she came off the bench in Game 3 against Michigan, 3 for 4, 3 runs, 2 RBIs, and a double. Pretty good performance.
Very good, and it's like, if you're gonna play that good, should I bring you off the bench all the time? Do I need to start you every day? I think a little closer to the latter is what Coach I and the common opinion would be, and Slim just showing she needs to be playing.
That's golfed into left, and it's going to drop fair. Just in front of the glove of Romulo. It gets away from her, heads up base running as Slimp is able to leg it out for a belly flop double to begin the 4th. It wasn't the best contact, but just found a soft spot. And it bounced away from Romulo. And she was rounding first. That's when she turned on the Jets.
Her knowledge as an outfielder really helped her out there. She saw that it'd be a tricky play. She knew to turn on the Jets as soon as she saw a little bit of trouble fielding that one.
So we're going to see a new pitcher enter the circle for Cal State Fullerton. Trisha McCluskey, who actually got the start against UCLA earlier this season when the teams first met. The last time that she came out in relief was their last game against UC Riverside, collected the final out to end the game, the top of the 7th inning. So it was a short stint for her. Two-time Big West Pitcher of the Week. In fact, was just named the Big West Pitcher of the Week this past week after pitching a complete game shutout in the opener against the Highlanders. Recorded a perfect 0 ERA in 7 1/3 innings that she appeared in. And a big spot for her as well entering this season, because Cal State Fullerton obviously lost their starting ace, Haley Rainey, who was the Big West Pitcher of the Year, transferred to Auburn for her senior season, was also an NFCA All-West Regional 3rd team selection, currently leading the Tigers in starts in the circle for them, 2nd most utilized pitcher. So without her services, there was a void to be filled, and she has filled that void beautifully.
McCluskey, as you said, Jonah, came in a tricky spot after Hurtado did a whole lot of work, threw a whole lot of pitches, and was able to get that final out with a few runners in scoring position. And it's a little bit of a different challenge for McCluskey, but she's shown, whether she's starting the game or in the circle or she's coming on with the runner on, she's up to the challenge.
Redshirted in 2023, appeared in 9 contests last year, made 1 start. As Seneca Curro is going to pinch hit for Maggie Daniel. And by the way, that 1 start that she did make last year came against this UCLA team on the road here at Easton Stadium. 38 pitches, did concede some runs and hits. That was her first taste of this circle as Curro takes a strike that knocks the bottom of the zone.
And I love when these local teams, even when they're not in the same conference, they make a habit of playing each other every year, because now McCluskey's got a little extra to play for, a little pride to play for, and she'll, of course, try to improve on that last outing here at Easton Stadium.
Curl lays down the bunt. That's going to move Slimp to 3rd, and so the sacrifice does result in her being retired, but she does what she was supposed to do.
The next batter for UCLA,
So Abigail Salazar actually covered the first base bag. So that goes down as a 1-4 put out. Ball skipped underneath for a moment from Alexia Lopez. It holds up Slimp, though, at third. And obviously this Fullerton team, by the way, usually, and it's the case this season, comprised of a lot of local products, a lot of hungry athletes that wanted to stay local and still play for a good program.
Just one player on the Titans roster that's not from the state of California. And McCleskey went to her catcher Lopez after that pass ball with a smile, said, "My bad, we're locked in now."
Terry loops one into right, charging forwards Lozano, and what a throw to cut off Slimp at third. Looked to be in potential sac fly range. Lozano said not so fast, there's two away.
I thought that they got enough of it there to bring the runner home, but it just shows that every time the Titans defense is tested, everything looks choreographed in the best way. The way that we saw the put out where the first baseman ducked down so the pitcher can throw earlier in this inning, and right there a fantastic throw from the outfield to keep the runner at third.
Slimp on the chopper, that skips away from Perez. Slimp easily pushes a run across. And Clemens with her second RBI of the contest. It's 3-1. Sixth hit of the game for UCLA. And Clemens has made great contact on a number of pitches today. 2 for 3 on the evening.
Doing a great job of finding her spots, and when you hit the ball hard, good things happen. That's what Clemens' motto has been today. Another hit and an RBI.
As Savannah Pola steps in. And it's 3 errors defensively for Cal State Fullerton, and so scratch and in recent outings.
Terry's been having a good day in the batter's box to start out, so we'll see if she can bring that momentum along with it. But I think Cecil did a really good job today, and she was challenged differently than she was in that no-hitter. She had 8 strikeouts in that one, and today she only had 3, but really had to work for some hard hit balls in the infield, had 5 ground outs. Challenged her in a different way, but you saw some really good stuff from Cecil today, showing that she can get outs without just punch outs.
Terry came in briefly for Taylor Tinsley to close out the first inning in the third and final game of the series at Michigan. Simply collected 1 out, but did concede a run. And the challenge for her has been the hits that she has allowed. Multiple times it's resulted in home runs for the other team, so they've been pretty punitive. Obviously brings a different look as a southpaw in the circle, as high velo. That's her bread and butter, but working on that verticality of some of those pitches as the 2-2 is just flexed into left over the head of Woolery. As another leadoff player aboard for Cal State Fullerton, this time Abigail Salazar, who had produced an RBI sac fly her last time up. First official hit of the contest for her.
She got to first base and immediately started hyping up her dugout, getting the vibes going, and it just goes to show you that Cal State Fullerton has come in today respecting their opponent, but not thinking too much of them, ready to just play a game as equals.
Well, and again, you think about this Cal State Fullerton team, and obviously they're taking on arguably a superior opponent in UCLA, but they haven't lost in a long time. In fact, 8 straight weeks they've had a player earn one of the conference weekly player of the week awards. 14 straight games. They've swept 4 3-game conference series began at Long Beach State, CSUN, UC Davis, and at UC Riverside. So they've never felt better or more confident coming into a contest like this. As you can see a look at their associate head coach, George Araujo, in his 8th season in this role. Of course, was just named actually the head coach of the Mexican national softball team. That ball a little high for Daniel. Easy swipe on the wild pitch for Salazar. So again, there's a little bit of the struggles with KT with that command, as Maggie Pavlovich has now evened up the count at 2 apiece. A lot more competitive this go round than in game 1. Bruins jumped out to a quick 5-0 lead and never looked back. Just 4 hits for the Bruins in that contest as well. It's still played at 6 runs.
And that's part of why it's so cool to see a matchup like this late in the season, because with UCLA set to host some big postseason games, the teams that'll be coming to Westwood will be teams a lot like Fullerton that have gotten really hot in their respective conferences and are not lacking confidence.
Good job from Daniel to smother that pitch in the dirt as the count runs full for Caitlin Terry. And they're going to need Caitlin Terry to return to her ace capabilities the way that she did last season. They rode her arm and that of Taylor Tinsley pretty much till their arms fell off last year. Just those 2 pitchers used. Coach Kelly annoyed Perez. That's why she's so happy that she has Addison Fisher, that she has Jada Cecil. She has capable arms to spread out the burden, as that is a comeback right off her glove. It caromed away. Pola on the second effort is unable to make the play, and Pavlovich beats out the throw. It advances Salazar to third, and the Titans have runners at the corners with nobody out to begin the 5th.
And how about a head-first dive into first base? Don't see that every day, but it was necessary and just showing. Oh gosh, that fall on top. Yeah, a little skid there, but does not matter for Pavlovich. She'll take the pain and take her base.
Well, not to mention that orange safety bag along the first base line is like drilled into the ground.
Yeah.
So you slide into it, it's not moving with you. It's not pliable.
You know what you're getting into when you go face first into that. It's nothing fun, but it is safe.
Infield pinches in. That pitch races high for Terry, but she does get her to swing around it for strike 2.
That was one of those ones where you get the feeling with how quick Daniel popped up behind that she was wanting that one to get high just in case someone on the Titans base path tried to steal.
Verhoff, and they will concede that base. Good strategy from the Titans to try and entice them to go to second to buy Salazar time to run from third. They don't bite. So it's a swipe for Pavlovich, but now an easier force-out opportunity as the 1-2 stays high for 2-2. Do you like that strategy if you're UCLA?
I think it's smart, and especially for the pitcher, Terry, coming in for her first action of the day in the circle. Keep it simple. Face the batter in front of you.
So if you're UCLA, you're trying to keep everything in front of you. Anything that gets away from the infield will easily score Salazar. Pavlovich, depending on how deep this contact can be from Verhoff, she's got a chance to come home and tie the game with a base knock. 2-2. Terry says not so fast. Cuts down Verhoff. Her first punch out. First out of the inning for UCLA.
When Terry is at her best, she just makes batters look silly. Had no chance at this one with the way it was moving, and just what Terry needed to get in this game and look to get in the final 2 outs of this frame.
Turn to the drop ball there for out number 1. That's weakly hit to Bragg. The force out to home is going to collect the out on Salazar. As the carousel moves on up. Pavlovich to third, and Romulo actually was going to reach first on the fielder's choice, and then after the Bruins decided to go home, she took second, and the Bruins were willing to concede that. They take out Salazar, and now can focus solely on Sarah Perez, who's been struck out both times. So here's another look. So it goes down as a 6-2 putout to cut down Salazar. So she's caught at home. Bruins maintain their 2-run cushion. And it feels big because if you were the Titans, obviously your dream scenario was to play 2 runs, but even 1 would suffice. And they felt like they were in a pretty prime opportunity. They still are. They can connect here, but a 1-2 for Terry, and it's fought off by Perez.
Going back to that last play, it was a great throw by Bragg from the shortstop spot to get home to Daniel, and then both of them reacted so quick, I thought they actually could have got the runner heading from first to second and just didn't quite communicate.
Would you have taken that risk, though, knowing that Pavlovich was lurking at third?
It's certainly a risk, as you said, but the way Bragg got such velocity on that throw home, and we know that Daniel's so quick up the dish, as long as you're talking about it, saying I'm here covering, and just seemed like Daniel was looking but didn't recognize what was going on, was trying to stay on top of all the moving pieces. So certainly the safe play, but with the arm talent you've got from both Bragg and Daniel, the defensive talent on both of them, I'd go for it.
Infield alert for UCLA. 2 on, 2 out. 1-2 count to Sarah Perez. And Terry goes to the changeup. She was able to fight it off again. 3 straight pitches fouled off by Perez. We talked about this sophomore class. Still a very youthful and inexperienced class, but showed such promise last season. Going with that slapping technique, but it's been effective.
And it's that technique that really kept her alive. That changeup 2 pitches ago, Terry showed a smile after it got fouled off. She thought that would be the strikeout pitch.
The All Big West preseason team selection, Sarah Perez. Another 1-2, and held back her swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Currently on a 9-game hit streak. Different type of pitch. Again, started with the changeup, then brought the heat. Megan Grant hit her first home run in Game 3 against Michigan that she had hit in her previous 7 games. Somehow people felt disappointed that it had taken her so long to get back into the home run column. You have to remember, she was on this kind of rocket ship ride, just soaring through the stratosphere on the way to hitting 22 home runs. Kind of came back to earth a little bit. And they call her Chef Grant. Huge Steph Curry fan, grew up in the Bay Area, and when she began playing basketball, she said, you know, I kind of like that guard from Davidson.
Between Grant and Woolery, a little too much Bay Area for a SoCal guy like me, but as long as they got the LA on their chest, I guess it's all right.
She said that her intention was to cook people on the court, you know, to cross them up, but then softball kind of came into the picture. She was like, okay, I think I can cook some people on the diamond as well. She pops up, though, to Casillas, who drifted over from third. Although she does say that she enjoys cooking, though. Feels like she can make a mean filet, shrimp pasta from time to time. 2 away, though, for McCluskey and the Titans defense taking on Kanaya Bragg, who we saw extend the inning in the third with a 2-out single. Can she do it again?
Bragg has been so impressive this season, but I love what she's brought today because a couple times we've seen the big hitters, the one that you know are going to be on the Bruins, is making noise, sees them go out quick, and she stays locked in and was able to get a base hit after the 2 of them were retired when they let off past inning this game.
Again, Bragg, part of that special freshman class. We've highlighted Fisher and Riley Slimp. Alina Garcia was a part of that as well. Sophia Mujica, who isn't starting behind the dish, #1 catcher coming out of high school, but Kanaya Bragg was also a really coveted player hailing out of Garden Grove, California. Earned the conference's first Big Ten Freshman of the Week honors as that runs inside for 2-2. Has already had so many special moments this season. Especially, we saw that against Oregon. On the 2-2, clipped into the glove of Lopez. She holds on, and McCluskey strikes her out. So she's doing her part in the circle for the Titans defensively. Can her offense start to wake up? Time to find out. So we talked about this a little bit earlier in the contest, but a look at Jenny Topping, the player development assistant coach in her second season at Cal State Fullerton. She was a former teammate of Lisa Fernandez, the associate head coach for UCLA on the 2004 USA softball team. In fact, that year, as they were actually nicknamed the real Dream Team, they take offense to the Dream Team in the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. They recorded a perfect 9-0 record, won the gold medal at the Athens Olympics, absolutely dominated that tournament. And so they take offense when they hear the term Dream Team. It doesn't sit well with them. They're the real Dream Team.
And that's just the mentality that it takes to be one of the greats like Fernandez and Topping are. And you see them over at Barney sharing a drink. They are sharing some legendary stories after tonight's game.
And obviously around that time as players, you think about for UCLA and Coach Kelly Noy Perez, she was a player at that time. That was part of a stretch of winning 3 national championships as a player in Westwood, 2003, 2004. Special time for both of those programs. But they're so happy in Fullerton that they have her, that they can lean on her for her advice. And obviously the Bruins have always given effusive praise to Lisa Fernandez. All the players credit her with their hitting improvements, but also the fact that she's produced as a pitcher as well. You kind of forget she was a nasty pitcher here in Westwood as Terry retires Natalie Lozano to begin the 6th. She does a little bit of everything in Westwood, and all the players love her around here.
There's another nasty pitcher in Westwood, and someone very capable at the dish herself. This time she's locked in on getting those Ks, and Terry starting to heat up.
Yeah, has drawn some comparisons. Caitlin Terry, although more of the comparisons have come to Amanda Freed. Obviously, Rachel Garcia, another 2-way star pitcher here in Westwood as well. That's muscled up, kind of slid away from Bragg. Is she able to get the sidearm in time? She cannot. And Ava Arce is on with 1 out here in the 6th. 7th into the contest for the Titans. So they were threatening in the 5th inning. They had runners at the corners with 1 out. Couldn't push additional runs across. They tried to entice UCLA's defense into engaging in a run out at second to score another run. UCLA's defense didn't bite. And on a force out home, they've maintained their narrow lead. So it's not quite danger time if you're Cal State Fullerton, but this feels like an urgent moment in the game for them.
And now that's batters 4 through 8 in the Titans lineup that have gotten a hit today. And again, I think you see Daniel very eager to pop up and make sure no free bases at this critical juncture.
Again, the #1 team in the Big West Conference by at least 3 games. As that stays high, the Bruins have taken on a couple of their foes in UC San Diego, Long Beach State, CSUN, just to name a few. So they've had experience taking on the Big West Conference this season. Beautiful pitch poured in there from Terry. Was now retired, by the way, 3 of her last 4 via the strikeout. Slices it foul, 2-2.
You start to see the corners of this UCLA infield creeping in. You see Grant ready to make a sprint towards home plate in case this is another small ball play for Fullerton.
They've got Sarah Cosillos waiting in the on-deck circle as well. She's 1 for 2. 2-2 from Terry. Whistle's low, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Again, they wanted to insert her to regain her confidence, find her mojo in a meaningful opportunity. That is sharply hit to Pola at second, and she does make the flip to Bragg in time. They knock out RC. Lopez reaches on the fielder's choice. It was a bang-bang play, but they record the out. And that transfer almost came in late. A little bit of a bobble from Pola at second.
Yeah, and Pola and Bragg are going to joke about this as soon as the play is done and do a quick hug after, because, again, the communication was not quite there, and Pola is going to blame herself, saying, oh, maybe I should have just kept it and ran towards the bag, but there was no double play to be made there. A little awkward, a little unconventional, still a force out.
And I think that's what caused the confusion, is Bragg seemed to think, well, Pola is looking like she's going to tuck it and run herself, and then decide at the last minute to flip it. But RC was bolting over there.
And it's a good thing that Bragg, even though she was expecting Pola to go, was still there to cover, and she was needed in the end.
So as you alluded to, that's the second time where the communication could have been a little bit stronger between the two middle infielders. But Terry's had their back. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the 6th. Terry gets a fly out into right center, and it's shallowly hit. And would look. And you talk to Coach Kelly Noy-Perez, she's glad that UCLA faces a really fierce competitor like Northwestern to close out the season. Ramirez rifles one into right, just past the glove of Salazar. Now she's going to leg out for 2. It's going to be close, and slides in comfortably for a leadoff double. Look at Alexis Ramirez showing off the wheels.
Ramirez showing off the power. This is the hardest hit ball we've seen tonight. Just rockets, only needs a few bounces to hit the outfield wall out in center field, and look at the hustle. She immediately knew no one is getting there. Second base is mine. If I can keep up the hustle, nice slide and celebration to match. Great start for the Bruins this offensive inning.
That's a hit in now 7 straight games for her, as we'll see Taylor Stevens pinch run for her as well. A reliable running threat on the bases for UCLA, Taylor Stevens. All 5 of her appearances this season have come in the month of April, in fact. We saw Riley Slimp deliver a double her last time up, came around to score in the 2nd inning. She's the only Bruin who's perfect on the evening, 2 for 2.
Just shows the different ways the Bruins can win, especially when you see the heavy part of the lineup for the Bruins haven't had as much success as you're used to. And still the back of the lineup, back of the order has been putting in work for UCLA.
And obviously for this UCLA team, they follow an important mantra: respect everybody, fear nobody. That's one of Coach Kelly Noy-Perez's favorite sayings. Never taking anyone lightly, and UCLA hasn't lost a midweek game this season. Those are usually the hardest, as that is going to be ripped up the middle. Stevens is going to be waved home. The play will be close, and it is made. What a throw from the Golden Glove winner, Kate Verhoff. Put it on a line to Alexia Lopez for the out. Boy, and Stevens is fast. Well, look at the transfer. Threw that perfectly and gave Lopez a full second to make the play.
But that is a fantastic stab at the ball by Lopez, and right now you can see McCleskey and Lopez nudging each other saying, hey, not so bad right there. Thanks for helping me out. And that throw had some serious velocity on it, as you said, so a great job by Lopez to stick her glove out and reverse it behind her a little bit to get the runner coming in fast towards home.
It was going to go down as a hit regardless for Riley Slimp. And I believe they are going to look at this just to be sure. They're taking a look at the VAR. It looked to be pretty clear upon the initial look.
And that was really surprising because the throw was great, but all of a sudden it turned into a close play, and then such a great grab by Lopez turned it into a rather easy one. And yeah, I'm not even sure that the runner gets her leg on home plate.
Are they looking to see if there was actually any contact until that moment? Perhaps they were looking for the contact.
not sure I saw enough to say that she was in the way of Stevens coming home, and Stevens did, in fact, get her hand down at the end of it onto home plate. So if they do rule that that's the case, she did end up touching home.
Obviously a big call at this stage of the game, even though it seemed clearer and perhaps more obvious on first glance. But they are continuing to look at this, and the call is upheld. So Riley Slimp again with a base hit was able to take advantage of the throw home to advance into scoring position. Stevens tried to come all the way home and swim around a tag, but the glove was laid down. No catcher's interference as well, or an obstruction of a path, as Maggie Daniel is back in. Seneca Curl, we saw her pinch hit, for her in the fourth inning. Daniel grounded out to third her first time up. Has gunned down 2 Titans, though, defensively behind home plate. On the 1-0, that is looped fair into third, and a late wave home, but Slim takes advantage and scores from second. And Maggie Daniel delivers an RBI single here in the 6th to tack on another insurance run for UCLA. Just the 6th run driven in for Maggie Daniel, the freshman this season.
Well, she saw the Fullerton catcher make a play last time up and decided to one-up her. Slimp does a great job scanning the outfield, and then gets the sign and trots home easily. No need for a slide, just great job seeing when the outfielder is looking down at the ball and when she can start hustling.
So Crystal and Romulo over in left didn't even try to throw home. Slimp got a great jump on it as Terry takes a strike. So again, it's been pretty tight throughout. But UCLA trying to distance themselves here with just 1 out. That's a ground ball to first, and it appeared to roll foul at the very end. Obviously, Ava Arce was hoping that it would stay fair.
Yeah, Arce needed to be a little more proactive there, and we've seen her before jump out in front of the base and snag the ball before it rolls foul, and that time the double base at first just got in her way. She couldn't make a play.
So it actually worked out favorably for Caitlin Terry, as perhaps they're looking at this one more time to see if the ball actually entered the glove and was fielded by Arce in time. It didn't look that way. So we didn't have many stoppages through the first 5.5 innings. Fullerton sensing a moment here. But it's a quick conference. Again, Bruins won 6-2 back in February. That is flared foul. 94th edition between these two teams, first met in 1980. This is actually their first regular season meeting at UCLA since 2010. They faced off against one another at Easton Stadium in the 2018 NCAA Regionals. As Terry is struck out, held on to by Lopez for out number 2. Titans actually took that first game in the regionals in 2018. Bruins had to navigate through the losers bracket and take down the Titans twice to escape the regionals.
even when they're down, I love the energy that McCleskey and Lopez behind the dish, and the Titans as a whole are showing. They're keeping the energy really high, and you can tell they don't think they're out of this game by a long shot.
McCleskey has pitched really well. 3.17 ERA, 14 wins on the season as a pitcher. That's going to bounce to second. One out is not held on to. Perez kind of took her eye off it apart, and that's Pavlovich that shifted over defensively in short. Pavlovich just took her eye off it at the last minute, and so it should have been a routine out at second. Instead, allowed her to be safe. You can see, I think she was thinking of winding up for a transfer and lost sight of it.
Yeah, thinking of where the ball's going before you've got it is always a recipe for disaster, but maybe Pavlovich thought Salazar would underhand that one. It was pretty close for the overhand throw there. And a couple of times we've seen trouble at second base where the second baseman and shortstop are colliding, having to make plays together.
Yeah, on both sides. So Clemens is on. And Maggie Daniels over at second. Savannah Pola back in, avoided a scare earlier in the contest. Still 0 for 3, though. Did reach on a fielder's choice in the fourth. On the 0-2, chases the fastball that climbs the ladder.
Chess match to watch between the Bruins and the Titans, because the Titans kind of came out on the front foot, got the first run, and they were gathering plenty of hits in the early innings, playing that small ball with bunts and short hits in the infield, running them out. And you really saw UCLA adapt to that, especially with their pitching. They played some good defense. And I mean, Terry, to go along with the run and RBI in the offensive side of things, she's just gotten better and better as this outing has gone on. Gave up a few hard hit fouls in her first inning of pitching, and she was lights out her last frame. Pitcher that gets better throughout the game, and a pitcher that can come in at any spot is a pitcher that's destined for Oklahoma City.
1-2 from Salazar, a pop-up to Bragg at short. One away. Titans trying to channel their coach's mantra of beast mode. That's her slogan. Backs coach Gina Oaks Garcia has those two words embroidered on her Easton glove. Part of why Maggie